Welcome. This is Focus on Liberia. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning if you are in some part of the world in the morning hours. And welcome to our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. As usual, it's Sunday. As usual, it's Q&A with Smith Toby. Mr. Toby is the Deputy Presidential Press Secretary for the Republic of Liberia, and this program is every other Sunday here at Focus on Liberia, and it is called Q&A with Smith Toby. Folks, welcome to the broadcast. Again, your host here today is Anthony C. Mr. Dennis Ja got some family matters to take care of, so he's not here, but I'm here and he prepared me to be here with Mr. Toby to ask the tough question that we got all set for him. And Mr. Toby, as always, is comfortably seated. I hope he got a little bit of towel with him with that so he can wipe his sweat because this particular edition is going to be tough. Let us welcome our usual guest here, Mr. Toby. Welcome to Focus on Liberia, my brother.
Well, let me say the pleasant good time to you and thanks for another Sunday. We give it to God for giving us the strength to see another Sunday, and we are happy to be on your platform as usual. Let me extend our sympathy to Dennis and his family. But again, we hope that he's going to get strong along the way, whatever the situation. We love to wish him well in his period of bereavement. Again, we come to talk Liberia. This is not a beauty contest. This is about sharing ideas. And we hope that your viewers will accord us the time and give us their attention because we've come to discuss our country, and we hope that we will do our best as usual to answer your questions. As you rightly said, from what we've seen, the promises will be a very tough night, but again, we are prepared and we can go on as the questions flow in. We will do our best as usual.
Mr. Smith Toby, Deputy Presidential Press Secretary here, who is always here every other Sunday at this hour on our program Q&A with Smith Toby. Folks, the stage is set. Please hit that share button quickly so that we can have more people joining as we get started here. Mr. Toby, the first news that hit us following our last edition of the show was that you were dismissed, and the rumor, kept going around. I'm like, okay, Smith's gonna come next week, and that would be the perfect opportunity. So, my man, is it that you got fired, and then you have to call the old man and say, "Oh, George, please help me out here. What's going on? What's the true story?"
Well, the fact of the matter is that some media outlet would haven't had the opportunity to hear me speak to them like I've done to your platform and other platforms around the country. They have taken my silence to be something that they wanted to raise some concern about. But to cut the long explanation short, I still enjoy the confidence of the president.
Okay.
He is the president who hire and fire. But at the moment and at this point in time, I'm still in his service. There's nothing controversial, or there's not a situation with the president and myself. I know that I still enjoy his confidence, and I'm still on the job. So for those who are out there looking for me on the social media, like what the guys at Shine Liberia try to put forth in their Facebook publication, and they were quoting unconfirmed report. And frankly, in the last few days, I've seen a lot of posts on social media where it's Smith Toby, where it's Smith Toby. I never knew people really love to hear me talk. And so apparently my silence or the adjustment in our schedule since the COVID have raising some concern for people out there. But again, I want to assure the many concerned Liberians out there who's thinking about my whereabouts that I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm good, I'm on the job. And by the way, we will resume our executive mansion every Tuesday presidential update as of this coming Tuesday to afford our viewers and our concerned people out there information coming out of the executive. So again, I'm okay. I'm good. I still work at the will and pleasure of the president,
But
and I
Smith, before
stay
you
in his
continue,
company.
Smith, hold on, Smith. Before you continue, I don't think these guys are just crafting romance or stories all by themselves. They might have heard something, I would think. So the question here is, was there an attempt at all on the part of the president, and that he did change his mind? That's why you are still enjoying that covenant you talk about.
Look, let me tell you one thing about my relationship with the president, and it is not just about the job I do for him in his office, but we got a very good human relationship.
Okay.
So the job I do around the office of the president comes in different form. So there's not even, by the way, the president saw the post and he even called me and said, "Oh, Smith, people say I fire you." So to tell you that how people make up stories. And again, it is a social media and it is some media outlet. But we laugh about it, we joke about it. Even just on yesterday or the day before yesterday, we all laugh about just joking about the same thing. Every time he sees me, he says, "Oh, any post I fire you, why are you doing the work?" So we just crack the joke about it. So I'm not sure that I've went to his mind of parting with. That is his right. It is in his constitutional right to do so, and no one question his authority. If he decides to part company with me, I wouldn't question his authority to do that. But
So this
I'm not
smoke,
sure.
this smoke that we saw, there was no fire at all. It was just a mere smoke, right?
Well, it is just always some of the smoke that we read about and see people put out on various media platforms. And they also speak to people like you and other very well-meaning Liberians out there that not everything you see on the social media you intend to believe. We got people running with fake news. We got people making up stories for their own motive. So we ought to be very careful with the introduction of this new media. If we are not careful, it's going to lead us into all sort of different misinformation in the public, in our society. But again, because I still enjoy the job, that is why I'm on your platform. And I've received thousands of calls from my friends and followers on this same issue. And we've spoken to them about it. And so we are still on the job. There's not an issue of dismissal on the table. If that happens, it's going to come at the will and pleasure of the president. No one questions that authority.
Okay.
So I'm cool. I'm doing very well, and I'm prepared to take your question. We gotta stay speak with that authority.
All right. Thank you. Well, then let's get to the meat of this conversation. Thank God that you are still on the job and the rumor is completely false. Well, the first thing that we want to talk about is this stopping for 12th graders who are taking the YA. I think they call it WAS now, right? And so it was reported that USAID had made available $50 for each of the 12th graders, taking the WAS. And when the government decided to disperse this stipend to the students, they were giving $25 instead of the $50 that was set aside by USAID. How true is this story? Did the government do anything to the 12th graders stipend?
The first thing, the story wasn't properly reported.
Okay.
Again, it is not because we speak for the office of the president or we are in the node of happenings in the country to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to USAID or USAID for short, the government of Liberia and USAID have had no discussion on the issue of the 12 graders.
Okay.
So it was another NGO known as Give Directly that is serving as the implementing non-for-profit organization implementing USAID cash transfer program to 12 graders.
In other words, it is that cash direct that is disbursing the money to the 12 graders, not the government. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying to you, USAID was working directly or is working directly with Give Directly. That's how they call the NGO.
Yeah.
Give Directly. So Give Directly implementing or USAID cash transfer program, not the government of Liberia implementing the program. So that arrangement came between USAID and another NGO, non-for-profit organization known as Give Directly. They structure the payment. They decided how they will disburse the payment, and they started the process. They was not with the government of Liberia. The government of Liberia did not receive funding from USAID for 12 graders. It was another organization operating in Liberia that is implementing the USAID program, not the government of Liberia. Again, every time things happen, people report it without getting the clarification. And I think the organization herself had to come back to the public to provide the clarity. Even the Ministry of Education was not directly involved in the disbursement of the cash because it was USAID, which is an organization dealing with another organization and not directly with the government of Liberia. So for people to frame the entire hullabaloo around the disbursement, claiming that the government received the funding and the government decided to give the students half of the money and confiscating half of the money, those who went with that information did not do right, not just to the government, because people always want to put the government in the public glare. But again, to answer the question, it was Give Directly, an international non-for-profit organization that was working or that is working with USAID that is implementing that project and not the government of Liberia.
And so, Toby, the government of Liberia did not steal a single $25 from the 12th grader taking the wax.
But if the government, through the office of the president, is paying wax fee for 12 graders, what does the government stands to benefit to take 25 or 25 United States dollars that is being allotted for students' transportation and lunch?
But the government is known for, hold on to it, the government is known for Operation Borrowing Initiative, Operation D-Ho Cover, or maybe that's what the government were trying to do here.
But the government had no connection. The interaction with USAID did not happen between the government of Liberia and USAID. USAID is out there. It's a big organization. The organization that is implemented is also a very big organization. They got their own procedure. They've gone in contact with USAID. USAID trusted them with the fund to give to students for lunch and transportation. How did they Give Directly derive at giving $25 and keeping $25? That question should rather be going to the implementing partner.
And has there been clarity from the USAID and Give Direct since the news was reported accusing the government of stealing $25?
Oh yes, Give Liberia has made over the last few days. They've been out with a clarification on the issue. They they gave the reason behind the initial $25, and also stated in their release why they kept the balance 25 to be given at the end of the sitting of the wax exam. So it is their explanation that have brought some sanity to the discussion. Again, when the news broke, some people in our political cycle took it and placed it on the lap of the government. But again, the government had no direct connection to USAID. The government of Liberia and USAID did not enter any agreement. This is the government that has paid all of the 12 graders wax fee. It makes no sense for the same government to go to USAID and lobby for lunch for students and confiscate it. USAID is operating through another organization. That organization should rather be accounting for their procedure for disbursement, and not the government of Liberia as being put out there to the public. And again, people always want to rubbish and place everything on the lap of the government. And this government will continue to remain very focused on the issues and not would not get distracted on some of those issues that people take and politics about.
Thank you. Folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia on our program Q&A with Smith Toby. Q&A is the bi-weekly program here held on every Sunday here at Focus on Liberia. Our guest is always Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Mr. Smith Toby, and he is answering the questions that we have for the office of the president. Mr. Toby, let me progress here. Let's move to LACC and let us talk a little more about Namodike. And I want to state clearly, and thank God you have the ears of the president. The president and myself are from the same town, Southtown, and I want you to convey my message to him that I have serious problem with him when it comes to this Namodike guy issue. I would have thought by this time the president would have asked for this guy's resignation, given the fact that this guy lied on his citizenship. This guy was rejected by the Senate. This guy has not been able to act on the $25 million report that was sent to the LACC. And that also tells me that the president is hiding something here. So my question here is, who is the head of LACC now and why?
Again, if we continue to dive in misperception, not understanding the body politics of our country will always mix our fights. And it is good that we're holding the conversation, and this is not a direct yes or no engagement. It is about me explaining to you so the followers and your audience can get a picture. Every time there's a situation that results to the court, it becomes an issue that had to come down through a legal process. So the issue of the LACC boss is before our jurisprudence. It is before the law body of our country. It is before the court.
I agree, but I'm saying to you, why can't the president ask for a resignation? Because there's too much noise around this thing.
It is not possible. Once the case is with the court, that means it becomes a situation that is before the law of the land. It is not with the president in his power to automatically remove Namodike from his position.
I'm asking that he should ask for a resignation from this man.
It is not possible. And the reason why it is not possible, we have some position in our country that are tenure positions.
And that's why I continue to say, let the president ask for a resignation from this guy.
No, it is not the way the law works. It doesn't work that way. You see why we even still having an issue with Mr. Asset Jackson? Because Minister Jackson, who is at Liberia representative at the Maritime, the ILO, is serving a tenure position. When the president attempted to remove Mr. Jackson from his position, Mr. Jackson ran to the court. So there are some positions that are very technical, and one of those positions is the position at the LDCC. Mr. Namoziki is serving a tenure position. He got confirmed to the position by the same Senate that denied him. So he was confirmed to a tenure position. Now that there are issues surrounding his citizenship that is being challenged before the court, until that court can render judgment, it is not legally advisable for the president to act. So for all of the individuals who are claiming why the president is not taking action, just in case, just for the side of it, what happens if the president takes a decision and the man goes to court and fight his case and get vindicated and there's nothing found on him? What become of his situation? So until that legal procedure comes to an end, the LDCC boss with me, the boss of the LDCC, until the legal battle around his citizenship come to a complete stop.
All right, Toby, thank you.
Because he was appointed, he was confirmed to that position by the Senate that gave him the power to serve in that tenure position. To remove him because he's going to court would not be justice to him. So until the court can lay to rest the situation, then maybe we'll see what the president's next action will be.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith, Toby, but I still having to disagree there.
You got your right.
The president can ask for a resignation, and this is why, right? Because the thing is like a cloud that is dragging the president's own reputation here.
It is not.
But let's leave that a little bit. You give your answer. Let's come to the $25 million report. Last March, I believe, making about a year, saying that report was sent to LACC when the president said that he was waiting for that report to come out to take action. Where is that report? Is it still at LACC? And when is the president going to act on this report?
So until the president received the report. So in the absence of a report, it is not possible for the president to act on the report.
Initially, the president gave 1 month. He said 2 weeks. He said he wanted a report in 2 weeks. But then the folks at LACC said, "Oh, Mr. President, it's not feasible to look at a report in 2 weeks and get it to you." So the president said, "Okay, 2 months." Since March, it's been over a year now, and the report is still there to the knowledge of the president, and he can't act on his own words.
But are you not aware that we've all been engulfed with a lot of situations, especially with the pandemic, which have slowed down a lot of different operations within the government of the world? So if the LDCC, as one of the arm of the government, is not putting in full time on their job, is it possible for them to have a conclusion on a report that is needed by the president? If the report is done and completed, of course, it will be submitted to the president. If the president will have to re-echo his engagement with the LDCC on the demand of the Liberian people as to the whereabouts of the report, then of course the president will have to do that. But again, in the midst of the pandemic, a lot of things has come to a standstill, including government functionaries. So it is not an excuse to not act on the report.
Mr. Toby, it is definitely an excuse. That report
it is not.
There more than 6 months before, more than 6 months before the pandemic came in, and that's like more than 6 months past the deadline the president has said. And so this is just an excuse, Smith.
No, I wouldn't want you to consider it just as an excuse. I also want you to look at the technical aspect of that report. Now, the LDCC boss, like you rightly said, who's been running in his own controversy, there's been all sort of hullabaloo around the office of the boss of the LDCC. There's a team that need to look at the report. Have they met? Are they meeting? How far have they gone with the report? So if that report is not readily available to the office of the president, even if the president received the report, the president takes time to peruse the report. And based on the recommendation of the report, then the president look at those recommendations and then take the needed action in the recommendation. But if the report is still being scrutinized, it is not possible for the president to hastily take decision. Those, people sit with the anxiety that people should take action. People should bring people to book, which is good for good governance and transparency. But again, if you rush into taking decisions and those decisions backfires, it also places a dent on the administration.
Mr. Toby, have you heard the saying, justice delayed, justice denied? The Liberian people are hungry for accountability here. The $25 million that was taken from our reserve, it was intended for map exercise because the exchange rate was skyrocketing, thereby leading to increase in prices. Our people were getting crushed. And the finance minister, who happened to be the head of the economic management team, did advise the president the options to proceed with, and that was to get that money to do something about it. And this is the money now. We don't know what's happening. And the president is just sitting on this report as though he doesn't care about accountability.
So then you will not be very fair to the president. Okay. To assume as a host and not as a politician, to assume that the president is sitting on the report that is yet to come to the president. That's not being fair to the office of the president. Because the first thing here is your quest for inquiry on the report as a host of a very respectable platform should go more as to where is the report. So I will expect that maybe in your next edition of your show, to knock the doors of the LDCC and find out if the report is stayed with the LDCC. If the LDCC comes to you and tell you, say, we've submitted the report, then you can now come with the judgment that the president is sitting on the report. But I want to make it very clear to you that the report is not in a place where the president is sitting over the report. So we ought to be very fair to the office of the president. When the report comes out from the LDCC will made it known to the public that we've presented the report. There's no secret about that report. There's nothing in the report to hide.
All right. Thank you. It's going
to be a public document. And of course, everyone else will have access to the report.
Thank you. Let me progress, my brother. Again, folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program Q&A with Smith Toby. And folks, our topic for today is questions for the president. And Mr. Toby is doing the answering because he speaks for the president. Let's come to rape. The last time you were here, we told you about this statement that was released from the executive mansion and how we said to you that this statement seems to be more like man words because despite that very strongly worded statement, individuals continue to carry on rape, which we don't hold the president accountable personally. He's not the one doing the rape. But the actions, we don't see those actions. So now the party of the president, the CDC, has made news saying that they want individuals who commit rape in our country to be castrated. And there are other Liberians in their frustration, justifiably so, are asking for individuals who commit rape to be murdered. They're calling for the death penalty. What does President we are staying here as the female in chief?
So the president was very concerned about the issue of rape. And this is nothing to sugarcoat here. And if you follow Liberians in the last few days on the social media, you see a lot of posts condemning rape. Even on the executive mansion page, you see us running short comment about the idea about discouraging people about rape. So in our society, it's now becoming a public discussion in vehicles, on the street, in the marketplace, at entertainment centers. People are discussing rape. There are several different recommendations on the book. The last time we did firing squad here, or by executing people, was someone somewhere back in 79, 80s, sometime back. I'm not sure our culture, our society is ready for action in that direction. But again, Liberians are calling for the issue, to come about as it is. So there are several different recommendations coming up, and the president is paying attention to those recommendations. He's listening to the Liberian people. He's hearing people come forth with their situation on the situation of rape, and those general discussions. Sorry. Something is going wrong here. I hope.
Yeah, take your time. It's just that your video is frozen, but we all can hear you very well. So continue. Mr. Toby, are you there?
Let me just sort of something here quickly. Like I got something wrong here with this.
All right. Do that. Do that while we take a little commercial break here. Do that. Again, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program Q&A with Deputy Presidential Press Secretary.
Are we okay? I think I'm having some problem here with the video.
Yeah, your video is frozen, but you can be heard, and your picture is on the screen, so I think we should continue.
Are we okay?
Yes, Smith, can you hear me? Oh, we're having some issues, Smith. If you can't hear me.
Okay, so as I was trying to put forth on the issue of rape, we should focus on a national issue. Everyone said. This way.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I am hearing you loud and clear. You still can hear me? Um,
Maybe you
it,
need to unmute
no,
unmute my
you're not muted
microphone,
at
something like
all.
that. I don't know
You're
why.
not muted at all. Maybe you should leave and come back in. Usually when somebody call you, that's what can happen. I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
Not at
Um,
all.
all right. Um, all right, folks. We are still having some technical difficulties here. At the end of Mr. Smith Toby, we are still having some technical difficulty there at his end. So bear with us here quickly. Bear with us here. We are still having some technical problem at the end of Mr. Smith Toby. Bear with us yet. He's going to be coming right back very, very soon. He will be coming back very, very soon. Folks, bear with us. We are waiting on Mr. Smith Tobe to join us. All right, folks, in cyberspace, we have just resolved that technical issue that was happening at the end of Mr. Smith Tobe. He's back with me now. All is well. He can hear me. I can hear him. And definitely, you should be able to hear him as well. Mr. Tobe, welcome back. And you were answering the question that where does the president stand between castration and death penalty as a punishment for rape.
Yeah, so let me again join you to apologize to the viewers for that technical glitch. But again, like you read this, we are back. So I was just trying to put forth the idea where Liberia actually stand on this issue of castration and death penalty. And like I said, there are several other recommendations as to what happened to those who are violators or caught in the process of rape. Others are equally saying there should be more awareness on the issue. The government and other civil society groupings should get involved into more education. Others are making several recommendations. It is not just the recommendation about castration and of course, executing people. Again, people think that we should revisit our rape law, which, of course, that is before the national legislature to see how they can reinforce that rape law. So these decisions and discussions are ongoing, and the president is following that discussion to the letter. The last time we were speaking to you here, we just come from stakeholder conversation or consultation on the issue of rape. Now you see more campaign on the issue of rape, and it is becoming a societal issue. And no one person can sit in their comfort to make a decision that will change the situation if all of us fail to get involved with it. With all of the awareness and education and on the abuse of women, rape, people that stay involved with rape. So if it become a general consensus by the people of Liberia that death penalty or castrate people who are perpetrated of rape, if that will be the case, but some people disagree that that will not stay solve the problem. So what will solve the problem is a national discussion. And it is our right, not just the president or the government of Liberia, but even on your platform, to do this little awareness so that people who follow you, not just in the diaspora, but also in Liberia, can also get some education. We all need to take it heads on because it is something that is affecting the society. It is becoming like the pandemic right now in our side of the world. And if the president, who is a feminist in chief, will talk about it continuously, and people are still perpetrating the act, then something maybe something is going wrong somewhere.
And so, Smith, I wanted to know whether the president is on this side. I mean, very briefly, so we can move on. Is he for castration as his party has put forth? He's a member of that party. I'm sure they consulted him before making that pronouncement. That is huge. Or is he for death penalty for rapists?
Well, at this point, it is difficult to know where the president stands on the issue because there are still ongoing discussion on what happened to the law, what happened to those recommendations. So all of the recommendations, what is coming from political items, again, some people have put in a political face on the fight. People using the name for campaign purposes. Others.
No, Smith. Maybe you are using your political lens, and because political actors are involved now, you're trying to say it's being politicized. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, listen. Some people. I'm not saying all Liberians. It hurts every one of us, but we should be sincere in our approach to it. We should not put a political garment on the fight. Let us not want to gain score because we want to buy in the sympathy of Liberian and women. We should be very sincere in this fight, and people should not use it as a political, stuff, just for the time being. If we are taking it with sincerity, we all need to continue in that sincere fight to put an end to it. Now you see how all of the politicians are using the Facebook pages and getting along and sending the message. We urge them to continue in that direction. Even after election, they should continue with the message. Not to get discouraged because it's after election and no one talk about rape anymore. It is a situation in our country that we need to continue to talk about. So I'm just saying that we should not put a political spin on it, but we should be very sincere in the way we talk about it because it hurts every one of us as a country.
All right, Mr. Toby, we are aware. I don't know if the office of the president is also aware of this protest for rape intended to call the attention of the government, the attention of the executive branch of government, primarily to action. And the organizers of this protest are saying they will be calling on the government to declare rape as a national emergency. Has the president heard that, or have you heard that and shared that with the president? Is that something he's willing to support here?
Well, just on today before the show,
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing my briefing consultation on the issue, I discussed this issue of the pending protests.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Liberians were assembled to call the government attention to something that is alarming. And the government is prepared to listen to their recommendation and to take the petition. I spoke to the Minister of Information a few minutes before I got on the show. And we were comparing note to the response of the government on that issue. So the government is not going to put a stop to people calling or attention to something that is becoming alarming. We are aware as a government that Liberians out there are planning to call the government attention to the issue of rape. The government will respond to that as per the presentation of the statement that is going to come from the protesters. So it is a national approach, and the government is willing to listen to what the protesters will be recommending. Again, it's going to be Liberians speaking to their leaders. They're coming with their mind. They are coming with recommendation as well. So all of the various recommendations, the government will collect those recommendations and come up with a position statement on this national fight.
And Toby, usually when there is a protest of this kind, your government, our government, will always demand this permit from protesters. And the argument all along has always been, it is our constitutional right. We don't need special permit or permission from government to do so. Would the government be requiring a permit from these individuals before they can protest?
Well, I know that the organizers know the rudiment of our country, jurisprudence. So now that they've set a date and time for their assembly, I'm sure that they've gone through all of what is required, because there is no news from the government cycle of putting a halt to the Liberians who will be turning out. It is not a political protest. It is a protest to call the government attention to something that is affecting our generation of young people, our generation of young women. And so it is not something that the government and the protesters will want to see go chaotic. The organizers are law-abiding people, I'm sure. I'm sure they've gone through the Ministry of Justice. They've done all of the consultation. They would need police to guard them. They would need security to give them protection. So I'm very sure once they already announced their intent and their assembly point, and for the purpose of presenting a statement to the government, I'm sure they've gone through all of those various procedure to grant them the space to assemble and petition their government.
Will the president be joining the protest? He's the feminine chief.
Well, it is not for me to say if on the day of the protest the president will join the protest or he will receive the petition from the petitioners. So let's wait and see what happens, because this is becoming a national issue. You never tell whether the president is going to go there to receive it or he's going to join them. But it is not for me to tell you what happened on the day of the protest when the protesters assembled.
Did the president plan to contribute to the protesters? They are trying to raise some money so that they can buy cold water and some other things. Will the president be making a personal contribution? He's the female in chief. This is about rape here. These guys or the individuals, the Liberian citizens, we all need to contribute to them because this thing affects everything about our country.
No, I like the way everyone want to see the president goes about doing just everything. I'm sure that the issue of rape, it is not just about President Weah because he is the feminist in chief. We are all, into this war, came through women, we marry women, and we should not be the ones abusing women, by any means or form. So if the president is going to make his personal contribution, I know that he's done that several times to other organizations. So if those protesters have made their way through the protocol in making sure that there is this way that the president will identify with them, I know the president never relents in reaching out to people who means well for the country. So if those requests or maybe those gestures come out of the president's office or by enemies from the government through the protesters, the government provided water for people who protested in this country. They've been helping people, to remain civil. So there's nothing wrong.
All
So
right.
if the president sees that fit, he's going to do that, like he's done on several occasions.
Finally, on rape, adjudication is key in this whole fight against rape to serve that needed deterrent that we all want. Is the president interested in using his gabble, not gabble per se, but his political persuasion to see that there is a special court established for rape only, for a speedier adjudication process of all rapists in Liberia? I know that was one of the things that were contained in the statement that you guys issued. Where is the president and the government on this?
So I know that currently, I'm sure there are two separate courts.
Okay.
Two or three of it. I think one is in Nima. One should be here in Mosorado, and I think one of it should be somewhere in Bomi or in Magimi.
Our understanding is those are underfunded by the government.
So the issue of funding will always be a situation.
Okay.
There are several different things happening in the country. With a challenged economy, funding will always be an issue. So it is not about funding, it is about speedy adjudication. So if the government will put out more courts, maybe that could be some of the ways to address the issue, to have special courts for going through investigating those who are allegedly involved into rape. Currently, the government, I'm sure, giving some more support into several different ways in making sure people are properly checked, when those allegations of rape comes out. Not for people who are raping babies wearing pampers and 10 years old and 15 years old kids around, but even people who are of age, sometimes accuse men of rape, which sometimes become very technical, and it goes through a lot of different stages of investigation.
Thank you. Mr. Toby, let's come to this issue of this debate challenge. In Liberia now, the issue of national debate has resurrected, and it started from the office you work in. You are with the Ministry of Presidential Affairs, Nathaniel Fallon Mange. Through this debate challenge to Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, to come and debate national issues or issue of governance. And then Cummings fired back and he said, I would rather debate your boss. So the question here is, did the president ask McGill to challenge Cummings to a debate, apparently because he's not interested in a debate?
Well, Mr. President would never shy away from a debate.
Are you sure?
But again, Mr. Cummings is not, I'm not sure he's reached or reaches the point to hold a debate with a sitting president. So in what capacity is Cummings throwing back his debate to the president?
As a Liberian to another Liberian who happen to be President Weah.
So it is not possible for the president to leave his administrative duty to get involved with a debate with another Liberian. So if you want to bring down the office of the presidency, you could sit there tomorrow and say you want to hold a debate with the president. You claim that you know so much, you want to hold a debate with the president. The president leaves his office and come down to hold a debate with a Liberian because that Liberian think that they want to hold a debate with the president. Mr. Cummings knows what leadership is. And if Mr. Alexander Cummings, who profess to be canvassing to be Liberia's next president, should not bring the presidency to public disrepute. If Mr. Nathaniel Fallow McGill, for any reason, threw up a challenge to Mr. Alexander Cummings, it's optional. He could rather accept or refuse the challenge for his debate.
So how does the president, hold on, Smith, how does the president view Cummings turning down the debate challenge from McGill? Does the president feel that Mr. Cummings is an escapee when it comes to debate?
Mr. President did not set up a boxing ring for Alexander Cummings and Mr. McGill.
Okay.
So if Mr. Cummings has professed to be the man who's knowing everything about governance in the country, and there's a challenge to him by the Minister of State, saying that since you proclaim that you know more about governance and proper management of a state, we can say it. We are all Liberians. We are almost of the same status. So even, refuse that challenge, to sit and prove his supporters or his critics wrong. He should have accepted and come to the stage and prove to the Liberian people that he knows better about governance as compared to Mr. McGill, who threw out the challenge to him. But to shy away from a debate and carry his approach to the office of the president, that is unacceptable. Mr. Cummings and Mr. Weah, or President Weah, are not equal. Let's put it the Liberian way. They are not equal in any means.
What do you mean they are not equal? What is different about
the president and President Weah? Mm-hmm. The president is the president. Mr. Cummings is a Liberian aspiring for that seat.
But the president is also a political leader of a political party. So does Cummings. So why not?
So no, Mr. President is the president of the country. Mm-hmm. When we are in campaign, mm-hmm. and there is a political debate that calls for candidate. Mm-hmm. If President Weah is a candidate and Cummings is a candidate, they will meet on the table of being candidate. But until then, they are not candidates. Mr. President is the president. He's not a candidate to go and be sitting with one. I'm not sure Cummings is even a candidate as we speak, but to sit with a Liberian who profess to know everything at a particular given time, that is disservice to the office of the president. And no one should even support, Mr. Cummings carrying his challenge to the office of the president. He should rather be looking for people of his status, to sit and discuss governance. He and President Weah, the president speak with presidents of this world and they discuss governance, not with an aspirant who is aspiring to be president. I'm not sure if he will even be a president in this country in this 21st century. So I will urge Mr. Cummings to wait, since he wants to debate with President Weah. When President Weah turned to be a candidate and Cummings is qualified to be a candidate, they will meet on that table of a debate. Currently, he's nowhere close to sitting with a sitting president to debate governance of the country.
So does it mean that President Weah is prepared for debate 2023, the general and presidential debate, to meet Cummings and whoever will be running for president? Is that why it is?
If there is normally there will always be debate in election year. So if there is one organized and Mr. Cummings is successful to be on that table, he will meet President Weah on the debate table. But to come out of the blue and throw his debate to the seat of the president, for lack of a better word, that's been rude to the presidency. And we expect Mr. Cummings to know better for his status and his acclaim, professionalism. He should not be bringing the seat of the presidency. Not everything someone throw at the opposition should get reference to the presidency. Mr. Nathaniel Mangale is the Minister of State. If you want to challenge Mr. Cummings has his right to accept it or to refuse it. If Mr. Cummings is waiting for 2023, there will be a debate in 2023, and Mr. President will be prepared for that debate.
Wow. Mr. President will be prepared for that debate, folks. You heard it there. You are watching Focus on Liberia. Our program you're watching is Q&A. That is questions and answers with Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Smith Toby. This program is here at Focus on Liberia every other Sunday. Right now, we have been joined by Mr. Jimmy Eastman. Mr. Jimmy Eastman is an affiliate here at Focus on Liberia. He should have been here from the get-go of this program, but he was trying to handle some business on the other side. Mr. Eastman is here now. Let us welcome him. Mr. Eastman, please remove yourself on mute at your end so we can get you going here. So, Mr. Eastman, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We have Mr. Toby here in the hot seat and answering some questions. You are stay on mute. You are stayed on mute, Jimmy. All right. There you go. Yeah, okay. You're good now. You're good now.
Welcome, Mr. Toby. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for gracing our show with your presence. And, and to be able to provide us and our audience some clarity on some issues, some pressing issues that people have questions about. So glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Even though better late than never, it's good to see you again.
True. That is true.
All right, so let me progress. Let's come to the issue. Before we go to the next issue, you said something that Mr. Cummings' request to debate President Weah is like bringing the office of the president to disrepute. I mean, how can you say that to it? I think Mr. Weah, the president, who wants a debate in 2023, should be prepared for the debate. I don't think it's disrespectful to the office of the president as you try to make it look like.
At this point, it's disrespectful to the presidency. It is disrespect because you will want to hold a debate. For example, you live in the West, you're there in the United States. Are the politicians in the US throwing a debate to Mr. Donald Trump or in the street of America? Is he leaving his White House office and responding to debate on the street? Is that why you want to succumb the seat of our presidency to, especially President Weah? That is not fair to the office of the president. So for Mr. Cummings, and the thing about it, when Cummings left the country a few days ago, he was on the same flight with Mangale. So the both of them could have settled the debate date and every conversation on the debate, return to Liberia, and then find a place to hold a debate. But to escape the debate and turn his debate situation or issue to the office of the president, like I said, Cummings should not worry. There will be debate. What he should be thinking about is to first qualify to be a candidate in 2023, and then he will meet President Weah at the debate table. There will be debate for election in election year. But at this point, he and the president are no equals. So it is not possible to put for a debate with the president. You need to think twice.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith Toby. Our next segment will be the issue of Southeasterners dominating government based on President Weah appointing people mostly from the Southeast to high-profile positions in the government. And earlier, before the start of the show, we play a music that go with let Larry Lights, their pick and choose, let them carry on. I mean, is that why the president, but Jimmy Eastman going to lead this section about the Southeast, dominating the president. We are government. Mr. Eastman.
So, Mr. Toby, Mr. Smith, we've had people query us that in the person of especially Obed, for instance, that would they see a trend, a similar trend, and this trend can be attributed to Southeasterners. They claimed that the Doe administration was dominantly administered by Southeasterners. They had all the top positions. And today, similarly, they are accusing this current administration of doing the same things. Only Southeasterners are occupying most of the top positions. And we tried to defend or debate that, and said that why are you attributing it to the Southeasterners? Why don't you say it's a preference of the administration? Why are you blanketing the whole Southeastern group with an accusation of sectionalism, if you will? So could you speak to that for us?
Well, I like the way you place the backdrop to your question. And this accusation is not just coming in at this time of this administration. Even during the days of former President Charles Taylor, some Liberians in their understanding of governance thought that Mr. Taylor had favor in certain group of Liberians. Maybe they came from the bombing side or the northern side of the country, or they were Congo people. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf were equally accused of bringing certain group of Liberians into her administration. So presidents before President Weah had all had similar accusation. But surprisingly, what they are not saying to all of us is that those who comes from the Southeast or from the Northwest, are they not Liberian? Or are they not qualified? What is the main issue of their debate? Is it that those who are appointed to those positions are not Liberians, or they lack the qualification? So I need to understand the nature of the allegation against the president appointing more persons from the Southeast as compared to people from other regions of the country. And at what measurement or yardstick have the news in their debate that people from Bomi are not in the government, people from Nima are not in this government, or are they not holding a senior position in the government? People from Bon County, are they not in the government? Are they not holding senior position in the government? People from Lofa, are they not in this government? Are there not senior government officials from Lofa County? Even from this metropolitan Moserado, that is a mix of all of the counties. So you got people from Lofa here who are in this government. People from the Southeast, yes, are in this government as well. So are they saying that those who are in the government are not qualified to be in the government because they come from the Southeast? Or are they putting a ratio that there are more Southeasterners in the government as compared to other counties? I want to understand the nature of your debate with them.
Okay, so what they pose is that the top positions, a large majority of the top positions are the ones that are occupied by Southeasterners. Okay, that is, in other words, maybe the broadcast organizations, the telecom organizations, all the major Ministry of Information, all the major ministries. That's what their claim is. All the top positions are held by. That's what they're claiming.
But those claims will not have their debate. For example, the Minister of Information that is currently under President Weah administration came from the past administration. He's a Liberian, although he hailed from the Southeast. So are they now claiming that we should stop giving people jobs because of their county of origin? How would that help develop a country that is struggling with manpower and other people? So to even put forth a debate that the Minister of Public Works come from the Southeast, where does the Minister of Labor come from, for example? Where does the Minister of National Defense come from, for example? Is he from the Southeast as well? Where does the several other ministers here who comes from different counties, who are holding senior position, senior and junior ministers, comes from various spectrum of our body politics? But to limit a national conversation to the president only giving job to people in the Southeast, I'm not sure that is a fair conversation.
And Mr. Smith, if I may jump in, are you trying to suggest that the number of Southeasterners in top government officials being the highest, which has become a concern to other Liberians, is not a legitimate one at all? Is that why you're trying to dismiss here?
No, I'm dismissing the fact that whether they come from the Southeast, they are Liberians. They goes to those jobs with the requisite qualification. The Minister of Health is not from the Southeast. The Minister of Labor is not from the Southeast. The Minister of National Defense is not from the Southeast. You understand that? There are other several ministers that I can sit here and name to you.
But Mr. Toby, so you see there, you have just named about 3 or 4, but it would be easier for you if you put it on the flip side. I can go and say Western type of Minister of Commerce, Southeast. I can go Finance Minister, Samuel 12 Southeast, Information Southeast. I can go General Southeast. I can go LRA Southeast. I can keep going on and on. It's easier as compared to other regions. So that's what they are saying.
So my take to that conversation is, they come from the Southeast. Are they not qualified? Are they not Liberians?
All right.
Who's been hired to do the job? What is the argument all about? Is, for example, is Professor Wilson Tappet not a qualified Liberian, even though he comes from the Southeast, so he should be left out of governance because he comes from the Southeast? Is the Minister of Information, who served the past administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, not qualified to be a Minister of Information because he hailed from the Southeast? I'm not sure that is a fair judgment here. There are several other junior ministers who comes from all parts of the country. And I'm not sure the president appointment is being done on the county to county kind of thing. But besides, every government and every administration, every president will bring on board people that believe in the vision. When the McLeans and others were heading the Ellen Johnson administration, it was the confidence of Madam Sirleaf that brought those names to prominence. It is not that there were no other Liberians here who could not do the job. But again, all of us that work in this administration work at the will and pleasure of the president. So if you come from Nima, you from Lavara Zoo in Lofa County, once you are qualified, Natana Mange comes from Bopolu, there in the forest region. Is in the government. The Minister of Internal Affairs, Internal Affairs Minister, not from Southeast.
Okay.
So what people want to bring argument at Southeast.
All right, Mr. Smith Toby there, Deputy Presidential Press Secretary in the House seat here, answering some question. Folks, it's about time for you to participate. We are ready to take a few questions from you. Anytime we start the broadcast, the phone numbers are open, but I see that none of you yet to place a call. So the lines are open, or the line is open now, to put it right. So please get your calls coming in so that you can interact with Mr. Smith Toby. Let me read a few comments quickly here, Jimmy. Let me read a few comments here. Anthony Gay, the issue of rape have increased exponentially under this administration. Sam Wallow writes, the host should have come to the discussion with the full list of appointees instead of relying on claims. Toby, maybe that's something that you need to do. You guys should get a full list of the appointees, because this thing is too much. I have heard it. I personally too have accused the government of doing so. So maybe getting a full list of the individuals. You were coming,
simple.
Toby, I'm reading comments. You were coming, I just interacting with the comments. Jay Rennie Dapo, right? This is very, very, he said this is a very stupid topic. Hey, Rennie Dapo. Hey, Rennie. Do you know our topic? Look at the bottom of the screen. That is our topic. Questions for the president. That is our topic. Do you even know what we're discussing here? Come on. I am not going to waste my time here. These guys don't have anything resourceful to discuss, including your man Smith Toby does not have anything resourceful to discuss. You can go. Bye-bye. Howard Menska, right? We are talking about balance here. Every tribe should be represented. That's the point. All this talk, she writes. Let me see. Jay Rennie, so Alexander Cummings should not run after our president. We are, because he is from the southeast. Rennie Dapper, you said we were not discussing something resourceful, and I see that you are stay here. Maybe you should go, buddy. Those are just few comments. Somebody had called, but that call left. Let me come to Smith to respond. Smith, just few comments there, and you are about to respond. Go ahead.
No, because as I was just trying to put forth a point on the forward listing.
Yeah.
And again to do justice to your team and your viewers, like someone asked, to put me in the hot seat, like you call it, was to bring me your justification as to why you think the government has more Southeasterners. So the next Sunday after this Sunday, I hope we can interject with a compare listing of people who are currently serving what you consider as high position in the government, and we can do the analysis from that point. But for my understanding is that Liberians are given a piece of job to do, no matter where they hailed from. Once they are from Liberia or they come from the diaspora, but they are Liberians and they are qualified, they meet the president approval, they got a job to justify their inclusion in his government. He's not being selective as to because you come from the Southeast, so you've been given a piece of job to do.
Thank you. Jimmy, anything? We got callers coming in, Jimmy. Go ahead.
And here's what was alarming, Mr. Smith. They came on the show claiming that this show supports, because there are Southeasterners on the show, they support these things are going on. They claim that, when Dole government had all those all his tribesmen and in position, later on, it had a reverse effect on the group. So it was alarming that now we see people trying to accuse this current administration of that same thing because it has its adverse effect. So what do you think the administration could do to address some of these claims so that it won't have an adverse effect on people from that region?
Look, there's a call on your line. I'm sure that, are we still on?
Yeah. We stay on. Go ahead.
Okay. So for us to buy into those suggestions will means a lot to our development in our country. A group of Liberians that are claiming the effect of the people of the Southeast, I'm sure they are still thinking about what happened during the war days. But we would not go to war. The experience of Liberians here, we will talk the talk, we will disagree, we will climb on top of vehicles, and we will walk the street. But I don't see us going back to those times that a tribe will be haunted for their role in government. One thing that has kept us very peaceful is that even after Charles Taylor and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, those administrations had tribes not from the Southeast in dominance. They have people you call Congo people or Gola people. But after those administrations, they live here and nobody have gone after them. There's no witch hunting.
Are you trying to say that when the government was maybe dominated by, mostly people from other regions, they start Southeasterners, they didn't cry foul, they didn't make noise. And so why others are making noise now when it is time for the Southeasterners to dominate a little bit? Is that what you're saying here?
But look, I don't know whether it's a fair game. If you go back to previous administration, when Doe took power, people from the Southeast were the ones cutting the shots. Of course, when Madam Sirleaf came to power here, or when Charles Taylor came to power, it was all Bombing County and other counties that have close connection to former President Taylor that were cutting the shots. When former President Sirleaf came to power here, she had her own cream of Liberians who came from other counties. So people from the Southeast who never got job, who sat because Doe had left power, and there is a weird administration that has resurfaced, and they are benefiting from the greater part of the share, if you want to call it, or the cake. Administration will always come. If Mr. Cummings become president here again, he'll go to the Southeast. So where are we going? If Mr. Joseph Boakai is to win election here, you know how many people from Lofa will get a job? So this is something that we'll have to live with, because I think it's in our culture. It's something that we've accustomed ourselves to, and all we need is just to remain peaceful and allow those who are in authority to give us our share of the cake and move national development. But to complain that they get seven people from Grand Crew, and they get 2 men from Lofa, and they get 3 persons from Grand Bassa, they get 1 from Nima. It's no justice or discussion in this direction.
All right, let's bring in the man Kesali Double here. Kesali, where are you joining us from? Quickly to the issue.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and I'm calling you from Texas.
Okay.
And thanks to the Assistant Secretary for coming on your show once more. You know, I've always talked to Slade, Toby, and most time I tell you that I feel so sorry for him for the job he's doing. Sometimes we look for certain jobs, But then when we happen to get those jobs, it becomes so difficult to the extent that sometimes we feel embarrassed. Leaving a job, it becomes hard for us. I think Smith is in such a position.
I'm not.
Because defending this government, especially defending President George Weah, it is not an easy thing. It is not easy. Why is it? People are gossiping, people are lying, people are telling lies about the government. But things that are happening in the government are visible. Those are things that you can see. Do you need someone to tell you that President George Weah built a house in 9 months or in 10 months? Do you need someone to tell you that George Weah acquired all of those assets in no time? Is that a gossip? Will someone come and tell me that someone is gossiping that George Weah is building his house on 9th Street into a mansion and expensive property?
Kasali,
yes, sir.
Mr. Double, the issues you're raising, they are legitimate issues to raise, but we would love if you can follow the discussion pattern. We talk about rape, we talk about the debate challenge, we talk about
okay. I will follow one.
On the
I will follow one. I will go to the rape issue.
And then the
I will focus on the rape issue for which I will focus on the rape issue for now, for which I then posted on or on my page all along.
Please.
The rape issue is a rape issue of gossip. Do we need people to come out and tell us that rape is on the increase?
But who says a gossip?
No. This person who claims, yes, I'm coming. This person who claims to be a feminist in chief, he just heard from his press secretary telling you that he's not sure as to whether the president will be there to join the protester or to even receive petition from the protester. A press secretary telling you that he does not even know what his president is going to do when the protester goes before him.
The president will be willing to receive their petition. He said that. He said the president will be glad to receive their petition.
No. He said, when you ask him as to whether the president will be there or the president will come to be, he said, I listened to him clearly, he said, he does not know as to whether the president will be able to receive the petition or the president will contribute. But the president has just contributed to other people. He said, I listened to him.
Any other issue you want to respond to or you want to talk about?
On the issue with the Southeasterners, I wouldn't want to hold the entire Southeasterners responsible for what the president is doing. Like some people will be going around accusing Southeasterners. I wouldn't want to do that. Blame the man who is appointed with Southeasterners. This is not right. You saw the president of name for you, just few members of the cabinet. He could not even name correct phone. He was guessing. Somebody all around the place. But when it comes to names for Israel, he was able to say that they need almost 10 without even blinking his eyes. That's telling you that the government is not right.
All right, Kasali, thank you.
So we have to put it out together, and I hope some of these guys who are starting will always try to put it on the right track instead of just praising, which is not right for him.
Thank you. Thank you, Kasali. All right,
okay.
Mr. Toby, let Mr. Toby respond.
But Mr. Toby, before you respond, about the rape issue, we have laws on the books. We have a constitution that addresses crime and criminality and the punishment that should follow once convicted of a jury of their peers. We have laws. We have institutions like the gender ministry, like the police, like all the other establishments to address certain issues. We have those things in place. Now, it is becoming public awareness that the rape has been on the rise for whatever reason. The first thing is, has the government looked into it to see the statistics that it is actually true, and they can verify that, yes, we have seen a spike in rape cases, number one. Number two, why are they not being addressed? If we have these institutions that are set up to address these things, what are they doing, and why has it not? Is it that we need to change these institutions? We need to change the personnel or reinstitute more effective measures? I mean, Well, before it gets to the stage that we now have a protest pending, have we tried to address this issue and make it a public discussion so that people are more informed about what government is doing about it?
I think in time past, long before this administration, people kept rape as a family matter. And not many persons had sufficient information on even coming forward to admit, that they were raped or they are victims of rape. And the reason why people are taking the bull by the horn at this point, because the public information on rape have reached the point that everyone have the chance at this point to talk about it. It's no longer uncle raping niece or nephew involved into rape with someone in the family and is kept as a family issue. The awareness created not just by this government, but government before this government has given rape and victims of rape the courage to come out and admit. Do you know how many of our sisters are victims of rape that could not talk about it 10 years ago, that are openly discussing and talking about rape currently from the last administration to now? It is because of the awareness that government put in place. And because people are discussing it, that is why people are coming out to even admit and come out to say, yes, I'm a victim. And this person tampered with me at this age. We agree that it is becoming alarming because people are raping infants. If you listen to the radio stations here in our country in the morning from across the country, you would hear rape report from more than 2 or 3 counties.
All right.
Because parents are coming out. People used to hide these things, and the victims would live with the scar for the rest of their lives. But the government sees that it's no longer time to keep it. So the Ministry of Gender, there are partners who's been supporting this fight, and they are still supporting the fight. And like you rightly said, the government has been taking action. But at the point that we are right now, the law on the book maybe need to be revisited. Maybe there should be more stringent measures put in place. So those are the kind of discussions that are ongoing. So whether those protesters will make some recommendations, which the government is waiting to hear what the recommendations are and what the government herself is thinking about, at the end of the day, we are trying to put away a societal ill that needs all of our support, not just the feminists in chief, but it includes you, myself, and our friends around to discourage men from raping. So it is a fight, and it is a fight that we all need to take hands on.
Yeah, respond to Cassidy Double's concerns, and then we can bring in the next caller.
Look, the point that Mr. Double was trying to raise, I'm not sure he followed most of my points. But again, people are stuck in their argument. I'm not here to convince anyone to believe what I say. I tell you what I know, I tell you what I hear, I tell you my conversation from where I sit. Some people, even if President Weah turned this country into the Dubai of this world, they would never trust him, they would never believe him. They are stuck in their ideas. There's nothing good about President Weah that some Liberians will see and talk about. So if Kesely found himself in that category, I didn't come here to convince Kesely that President Weah is not doing anything for the country. I've come here, I've responded to your questions as you asked me. I'm providing you what I know, what I'm privileged to tell you. So Kesely and his legs can go on and keep believing what they believe. They got their mind made up. No matter how President Weah work in this country, the less of Kesely and other people who don't believe in him, who still don't see him as a president. He's speaking to a sitting president, and he said the man. That's been very disrespectful. Some people are just self-read. They don't respect leaders at all. If you got a disagreement with a sitting president, respect him and give him his respect. Call him by his title. How can you sit there and call? Is that how he referred to his father? That's been rude. And some of us, we will erect the necessary checkpoint. If you respect us, we will respect you. You can't come on a public platform and you're speaking to the office of the president and you don't respect the president because you got this agreement with him. Time you are doing same to the family that read you. And people should not bring those kind of a conversation to this platform.
Thank you, Smith.
We should be very frank with people.
Thank you. I think you responded appropriately there. Let's bring in Mr. Aliyu Kamara. Aliyu, quickly to the issue.
Yes, but before I go to the issue, please allow me to take 1 minute and just clarify something here. This sentimental thing, we have to do away with it when we're discussing national issues, especially so if we self-proclaim to be patriotic. And this goes to both Mr. Pelor and Brother Smith in the studio. Mr. Smith is not the chief protocol officer of the president, so he cannot emphatically think that the president will be somewhere. Mr. Smith will elaborate on information given to him from the president's office. He does not know what the president's intention is. So you cannot force him to tell you emphatically whether or not the president will be somewhere. He's not a chief security. The chief security president can determine sometimes whether the president goes somewhere or not. Let's understand that. Mr. Toby, your outburst was inappropriate to Mr. Double. Don't tell about his parents and all of that. We're trying to get rid of this kind of sentimental and intellectual discourse. I think that was inappropriate as well. But let me just say, my brother Smith is doing a pretty good job giving the information that he has on hand. Every department of this government has functions. And Mr. Smith cannot be able to do the job of a justice minister. So some of the questions we're asking him, they're off his preview. But let me just talk about this Southeastern thing that we all have something to talk about. Look, Anthony, let's be honest here. If the police were dominated by Southeastern people, if the military was dominated by Southeastern people, the entire security apparatus was dominated by Southeastern people, then we have an argument. So, Anthony, I am a lot of tribes. I'm a Dingo and Mende. And I have a lot of confidence in these tribes. You understand? Mm-hmm. And if I was president, the first thing I want my security. Secondly, I want to make sure that I have people around me who wants to see my vision or my agenda accomplished. So I'm looking for the place where I set my life, both my life, and to achieve my goal as a leader of an entity. Mm-hmm. There is nothing wrong with President Weah appointing 19 ministers from the Southeast. If you had the Unity Party to win the election, the Unity Party decided it will appoint 20 ministers or whatever, we have up to 20 ministers from the Unity Party. Well, you then go around making noise that the Unity Party did not employ people from NPP, and that is not her responsibility. The only thing that we should make noise for is something that a government or a leader does against the constitution of the country, not what is within his purview. This is his right to appoint who he wants to appoint. And it is the right of the people at the House of the Legislature to determine whether or not they can accept the person based on merit or character. So the argument about the Southeastern thing, to be frank, it does not hold water. And it is President William, and he has to offend nobody on that. But let's get to this real issue. To be honest with you, Brother Toby, I know you are speaking what you know and what you have, so you cannot speak for Weah's personality, and I understand that. But I just want to lay this out there. President Weah has not done enough to curb the rape situation. And I'm not saying that President Weah should get the job of the police, of the gender ministry, and of the justice minister and take on here and run in the streets. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if President Weah can come up with press publications with real statements of threat towards rapists in the country. We see this happening in Guinea. We see this happening in Sierra Leone. It makes a big and a huge difference. Okay? So the president needs to come up and make statements that are more aggressive. Let him forget about his passive behaviors because they're not helping the country. Thank you so much for giving me the time.
All right. Thank you. Smith, please hold that one. Please hold that one. Let me bring in Anthony Gay. He's been waiting for 10 minutes. And after Anthony, we will be going to Hawa Mesgat. That is my small sister there. Mr. Gay, quickly to the issue.
How are you?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Tia, and thanks to focus on Liberia for taking what you guys are doing. But okay. I was very appalled just now by the response of the press secretary, Mr. Toby, to the gentleman he was responding to. I don't know why most people in the CDC-led government, including the president, President Weah, are very apprehensive. And let me speak to a very specific issue. When President Weah came from the United Nations the second time, a gentleman asked Mr. Weah that, Mr. Weah, President Weah, you made a case for the Liberian people about the war crime code. Going forward, what do we expect? He said, I didn't say I want war crime code. I just said I want war crime code. This man just said something. You felt as though he disrespected the president by saying the man. That's fine. But in your response, you also insulting the men parent by saying you are self-read and you're assuming you don't know if you're self-read or not. That means he's not trained. He's not disciplined enough. Those kind of things always take the government on a wrong trajectory, because if you are a decent person, then you correct the man decently. You don't have to be apprehensive. This is your second time doing it, and I think Mr. Thompson corrected you the other time. I hope when you come out as government officials and you're representing the entire Liberia, represent your country instead of individual. That's point number one. Now, let's go back to the dire issue on the topic today, which is the rape issue. I wrote, yes, rape has increased exponentially under this administration. I'm sick of tired hearing the president is the feminine in chief. Action speaks louder than words. According to the deputy gender minister on the same focus on Liberia, said there is only one court handling the rape cases in Liberia. If this is true, this is very disturbing for the whole nation. Over 4.5 million people. And that's why we need to do our census so we can know how many people now in the country. It's been over 10 years since we've been saying that 4.5, 4.8, 4. Whatever number. If that is the truth, that only one court handling this matter, then we are in a serious circumstances here. There is a national emergency. Just as the president spoke about the state of emergency and everybody responded, the president needs to take responsibility now to speak on this race issue so that our country would not fall deeper into the circumstances. Last issue I want to speak on here, Mr. Smith Toby spoke of competent people in this government. They were given jobs based on their competency. I find that very troubling. Why? The likes of Ivan Weezer, the position he's currently in as an assistant minister of agriculture. If you look at that job function, that means you have a master's degree in agriculture. You look at the acting director of EPA, who is not an environmentalist, who does not have a degree in environmental science. The man only did wind turbine, which is a renewable energy. Randall W. is currently acting in that position. Minimum, you must be a master's degree holder with an environmental science degree. We got people in position. Minister Samuel also have a degree in mathematics. He is not an economist. although yes, he enrolled into George Washington, he did 1 semester. I stand to be corrected, but he is not an economist. Now he was getting a job. He's getting a job as an economist. That position that Mr. Stewart is telling right now, it's a practical and technical position, meaning it's not too much talking. Action. You gotta be pragmatic. Understand the subject matter and implement your
All right,
practice.
Anthony,
Okay?
I think you make your point there. We
Very
want
good, man.
to.
Yeah, let me conclude here. Sorry.
Yeah,
so
please.
with the last 30 seconds. So that's the reason why I disagree with Mr. Smith Toby when you speak of competent people. What are the competencies that they look at and a man of what Arvin research and Liberian budget, the PAP, they speak heavily about agriculture. Pillar 2 of that document speaks heavily about agriculture. But
Thank
agriculture
you.
has received the lowest budget
Thank
under
you,
this
Anthony.
administration. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to take my final call up, Mr. Toby, so we can wrap it up here. We don't want to take too much of your time before we get in trouble here. Howard Mesga, quickly to the issue.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you for allowing me in today on this table. Good afternoon, everyone on this platform. Good afternoon to all. Mr. Toby, I'm going to ask you a few questions before I go into why I'm even on this platform. You talk about respect, and we all know in a civilized society, respect is earned, correct?
Go ahead, Howard. I saw your post. I saw your response to my response.
Okay,
so
all right. So respect is earned. So citizens not getting justice is not respect. A lack of medical care to our people is not respect. When citizens don't get paid on time, it's not respect. When our healthcare system is so deranged that government officials can leave our people in the depths of Liberia and go to Ghana to get medical help, that's not respect to our people. So you talk about respect. Respect is earned on both sides. We want a leader who will answer our call. We want a leader that when we see the things that happen in Liberia, he will stand up to the plate. You're talking about people in the diaspora. Number one, I'm a career woman. I don't need no job in Liberia. Currently, as a justice advocate, I'm helping to take those off the street, and I'm paying for children that have been raped and violated, including my sister and other people that have not gotten justice with my own personal money. So when you talk about people in the diaspora that want to talk and come into politics and stuff, some of us don't have to. We have real careers. We have real jobs that we are passionate about. But my thing is, if you have a conscience and you say you represent the voice of the president, it took rape for people to come in the street and to protest for you guys to get that. Where 700 plus rape cases in Liberia, there is no actual court, like Anthony just said, that can even handle these cases. Do you know how many calls I receive a day from rape? Respect is not an individual thing on a leadership level. Respect is for our people who don't get the help that they need. Our people who calls me to ask me to get them lawyers to fight for their cases. That's the respect. Okay, so let's go back and touch our conscience as citizens of Liberia. This is everybody can come and say, oh, how I will always be all over the place until justice is settled. Thank you.
Howard Mesca there, firing as always. Callers, that would do it. We will give Mr. Smith, he got a bucket list of issues there to respond, and then we will be wrapping up. Mr. Smith, quickly to the issues that the rest.
So let me start with Howard. I'm sure this is not my first time hearing Howard speak with that passion, especially on the issue of rape. I've been there before. I've heard her make some very strong representation on the issue of rape. She got so much passion in her advocacy, which of course I respect. And how some of the exceptions we made here, we will not personalize those exceptions. We know that there are qualified Liberians in the diaspora. And we know that there are meaningful Liberians who are contributing to keeping Liberia and making Liberia better. But equally so, there are some Liberians who are also in the diaspora who are not contributing to anything. So sometimes when we generalize a conversation and you find yourself between the seasons, we are not specific in addressing you, and discrediting your effort. I know how much you've done and continue to do with this issue of rape and your advocacy. When we talk about respect, the respect I was alluding to was about respect to leadership. I know that our health sector is challenged. Every fabric of this country is being challenged. And to make it work require the effort of all of us as citizens of our country. And to do that is to work and share those brilliant ideas like you are doing. If there are others out there who are passionate about something else and they are willing to, go the extra mile for the sake of the country, we will all together make this country a better place. But like I said, some people will close their eyes to everything and see nothing right. All they see is the wrong thing of this country and the government under His Excellency President Weah. And sometimes the way they address the president sounds so disrespectful to the office of the president. It is not just about the individual sitting in the seat as president, but it's about the office. It's about the office. It is not because I'm speaking today for President Weah means that we will allow just anyone to say something the way they say it and we allow it to pass. If we fail to erect the checkpoint, I may have responded the way that I did to Kesely, because every time people talk about President Weah, some Liberians, no matter how you try to explain, they feel we come here for the sole purpose of sugarcoating. Like I said, you are not forced to believe what I'm saying here. You got your right to disagree. I said that people insult me on the same platform. Go and read some of the comments. You read in the comments. I hear people tell me things that they got no reason to tell me because I've come to share information. But do I come here to get in the word of war with people and insult people? But if you go to the extent of disrespecting the office, disrespect me, cause me, say anything you want to say to me. I read your comments on the show as I sit on the show. I don't take them because I know I'm doing a piece of job. But when people start to go to the office of the presidency and want to bring that office to public ridicule, we will always erect the checkpoint. Kesely, if you didn't feel pleased on the way that I addressed the issue with you, yes, but sometimes that's the way we handle the situation. People who know me don't know me to be a rude guy, but at times, or when the situation reaches a point, we will respond the way we did. So if I reference you and made reference to your upbringing and I had to go the level I went, I can say I'm sorry, but next time you should also know how to speak to the office of the president so that we can have a better conversation. When you sit in my presence and insult the president, I will not sit here and allow you to go, without me addressing you. So one respect deserves another, like how I was just trying to reference. So if my response didn't go down well with you, it means no harm. But again, let us try to accord ourselves and our individual bosses the equal respect. I'll
let you talk about the Southeastern thing, that he finds no problem. You want to comment on that too?
Yeah, but like I rightly said in the issue of the Southeastern thing, for me, once I know they are Liberians and someone talking about qualification, my response to your question was that top government officials, majority of them coming from the Southeast. And I hear someone making reference to Alvin Wisse. My discussion here was not intended to discuss people's CVs. I don't scrutinize CVs for qualification for appointment. There's a team that does that, and it sees what they see and approve, and then the president finally appoint people to serve in his administration. Our discussion is not around who got AA degree, who got BSc, who carry masters. I was only referencing the individuals who people claim are many in the government that comes from the Southeast. And my point to that conversation was they are Liberians and they are qualified. Are we talking about their qualification or their position from whence they come in the country? Should that be a national debate, or should we be debating people qualification and not from where they are coming from? So I was just trying to reference that, and we are not discussing people's CVs here with Minister Toe and other people you were trying to reference in this entire conversation. Except there is something else you want me to speak to, but I think those were the few issues that we can respond to.
I think you did that. We've been here almost 2 hours now, so we will wrap it up there. Jimmy, any final thoughts you want to share so that we can get out of here?
Mr. Toby, thank you again for coming on the show. What is touching to me is of all these topics we discussed today, is there's a call to action. Our women, our children are being abused, and there's something that has to be done, and this is what is coming to the forefront. I did hear one government official speak on this matter, and it's very complicated because there are cultural issues that you touched on, where family members are involved. There are also cultural issues where it is traditional to give young girls to older men for marriage way below the age of 18. And with this mix of issues, we still have to find a way to curtail this other pandemic. So what I hear is we need some actions to take place. And that's all I hear. Let's do some, we've tried. Now you pointed out to us that at least people coming out now. Before they were not even coming out to tell us. But now that they're coming out to tell us, now that we're getting more reports, what is our next step to do something about it? We look to y'all as leaders. You say, yeah, the problem at hand. Please fix this thing because it heightened us. But as you always come to the show to answer these tough questions, we just like the man said, you're in the hot seat. We really appreciate you coming over and answer it. Thank you.
All right. The voice of Jimmy Eastman here, and an affiliate here at Focus on Liberia, who joined us in this edition of Q&A with Smith Toby. Mr. Toby, time is fast spent, my brother. We gotta let you go so that you can have some time to come again in the house seat, as always, to answer some tough questions. What's your final and departing comments for us?
Well, I just want to say thanks to you and thanks to the viewers. I love the introduction. This is what I love to do, and I feel very pleased every time I'm opportune to share information with people. Again, it is not to come here to convince you, it's to only tell you what we know and what are the unfoldings. And we can disagree and agree. We ought to be respectful to one another. Sometimes we may be harsh in our answer or responses, but it is for the good of democracy and good for the show. Last time I was on the show, I saw people coming at you, and again, that's how sometimes it turned out to be. I know where I sit. I understand what I bring to this perfection, and it is not always easy, especially to speak, on national issue, and speak in the mind of the head of state of a country. We'll take it as a challenge, and we are getting there gradually. Sometimes you may not like the way we respond to the question or the answers we gave you, but that's what we can afford you at a particular given time. Again, I look forward to being here on another Sunday, and let's hope that then this issue of rape that is becoming alarming will get some redress before my next appearance here. And so Hawa and all of our mothers out there who are advocates and continuing their good job will have some good time hearing some of the news coming out of our country with rape. If you go back to the 60s and go back to the 70s and ask women of their time as to what they encounter in their youthful life, you know how rape permeated our society. We are grateful that it is now being talked about the way it is. And they said when it's becoming very dark in the middle of the night, then day coming to break. So we are in a very dark stage now with rape. With everyone talking about it, that means we are about to find a solution. Like everyone talking about the pandemic with COVID, how the scientists are trying to find cure, we are reaching a point to find a solution to this situation of rape in Liberia. We all need to keep focused, keep engaged, do not get discouraged in your advocacy, keep your government engaged, and of course, you got a listening president who will act, and I can assure you that action will be genuine. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, we can't say thank you enough for always taking your time to come here and represent the president. Because sometimes to get to the president is tough. That's why it is expedient that people like you will always come to answer the questions Liberians have. This is what I have to leave with you, audience. One word, and that word is respect. We all love that word, respect. We all want that word to be accorded to us, and that word again is respect. And the saying goes, if you respect me, I respect you. For respect is earned. It's not just being thrown around like any other thing. And so it starts with us individually. I like to disagree. I like to ask the tough questions. I like to question things when they seem to be going wrong or are completely going wrong. But if I do it with disrespect, it takes away the willingness of the other person to want to engage in a meaningful way so as we can come to one common ground. We are all Liberians and we will always be Liberians, one group of people from that continent. And the song is that we want to go to the promised land. We can't get to the promised land with all according each other disrespect in the midst of our disagreement. Let us represent our country in a way that others will respect us, and that starts with us respecting ourselves first and respecting the very people that we disagree with, but at the same time holding them accountable respectfully and responsibly. And that is how the conversation should be. Because it's this government today, there will be another. And the same issues will remain. That is what I have for you. You may think I'm trying to sugarcoat. You may think I'm on the side of the government because that's how Liberians see it. No one is in the middle, especially the guy like Anthony who likes politics. And you think the guy is in the middle? But I am bashing the president even though he and I are from the same county and he knows it. But he understands that I'm doing it because I want a better Liberia. What do you think? Well, we have to leave it there. Smith, thank you. Jimmy Eastman, as always, thank you. He is a strong affiliate of Focus on Liberia. Then I took a break today and I filled in. And this is how we'll come to the end of this edition Q&A with Smith Toby. Week after next, Smith will be here and it's gonna be hot. Bye-bye, folks.
We all Liberians.